Hello, Mohit. How are you? Hello.
Hello, boss. Sorry, my mic was muted. How are you?
Hi. कैसे हो बस बढ़िया.
बस बढ़िया boss.
I was waiting for you.
Thanks.
I think the participants in Zoom is 87 right now. We can wait for it to become 100. मोहित पाल सर 2-3 मिनट और वेट कर लें.
No problem.
Yes sir.
Hello, boss. Sorry, my mic was muted.
Hi. कैसे हो बस बढ़िया.
बस बढ़िया boss.
I was waiting for you.
I think the participants in Zoom is 87 right now. We can wait for it to become 100. मोहित पाल सर 2-3 मिनट और वेट कर लें.
No problem.
Yes.
Hello, boss. Sorry, my mic was muted.
Mohit sir, should we start because it's 99?
Yeah, ma'am. Sure.
Sanjay Bhaiya, Dr. Raman, are you ready? Is it being shared? Can we start? Dr. Raman, can you hear me? Dr. Raman, should we start? Is it being shared on Facebook?
Yes, ma'am, it is being shared. Actually, I am in a different room, so that's why
Okay.
it's
Okay,
live
okay,
on
that
the
I would
Facebook.
feel because of the echo.
Yes, ma'am, it's
Okay,
live
so
on the
we'll
Facebook.
start, right?
Sure, ma'am. Yes.
So I can thank you. Yeah, Pratna, go ahead.
I would request everyone to mute your mic. I would request once again, please mute your mic.
Ma'am, you can mute all the participants by yourselves.
Okay. Okay. Learning is the only thing the mind never exhausts, never fears, and never regrets. Hello everyone and welcome to today's session. This is Dr. Pratna Govil, oral medicine and maxillofacial radiologist. I'm currently working as assistant professor in Babu Banasi Das College of Dental Sciences, Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh. First of all, I would like to thank Corona Warrior Team India, incepted by Dr. Sanjay Chauhan, Dr. Sandeep Chauhan, and Dr. Priya Singh, and other team members for organizing such a knowledgeable webinar and giving us invaluable support and helping each and every one of us in this time of pandemic. Thank you, sir. Even as a deadly second wave of COVID-19 ravages India, doctors are now reporting a rash of cases involving a rare infection, also called as black fungus, among recovering and recovered COVID-19 patients. The black fungus has painted the country red in the second wave. Till May 25, India had registered over 11,700 cases of mucormycosis. In this webinar, we would be discussing about today's burning topic, mucormycosis, which is also commonly called as black fungus. For this enlightening session, I would like to introduce today's esteemed presenter, for the session. Before that, after every presentation, we would have a question answer round. Apart from scientific persons, we have Gram Pradhans and kids joining us in this session. तो अगर आप लोगों को लगे तो आप हिंदी भाषा में भी प्रश्न पूछ सकते हैं और प्रेजेंटर जरूर जवाब देंगे. So for our first presenter, this is Dr. Priya Singh. Dr. Priya Singh is an oral medicine and maxillofacial radiologist, currently working as associate professor in Babu Banarsi Das College of Dental Sciences, Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh. Also working as consultant in dental care clinic. She has a career spanning of 12 years, where she has received fellowship in soft tissue laser from D.Y. Patil University in 2012, Botox and derma fillers from Guidant in 2015, dentistry from ADI in 2018. She is credited with various articles published in peer-reviewed international and national journals. She is a member of various committees. Dr. Priya Singh is also honored with various awards, both in her academic and professional life, like Best Research Paper, Best Faculty in the College, COVID Warriors Serving in the Pandemic, and many more. She is also authored the book MRI in Dentistry. Dr. Priya Singh is a very humble and down-to-earth person with an inspiring personality. She has been a part of organizing committee in multiple conferences conducted in her specialties. She has been invited as a guest speaker and has conducted hands-on workshop in various national level conferences. She is also associated with social work with Pratham, Janus Initiative, and COVID Warriors. Dr. Priya Singh is an astute academician who is passionate for imparting knowledge and helping everyone in whatever way she can. She would be giving us an introduction to the topic. Ma'am, the platform is all yours.
Thanks a ton, Pradna. I was not expecting such a long introduction for me, but thanks a ton. It really means a lot. I'll be sharing my screen. Kindly just confirm that all of you can see it. Can everyone see my screen right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So as Dr. Pratna just said, that the burning topic these days is black fungus or mucormycosis, which is even a post-COVID complication. That is why we have gathered here. Till today morning, the cases reported had touched 12,000. So definitely it's a burning topic. Apart from this 12,000 patients, 29 states of India has declared it as epidemic. So it's very necessary to exactly know what is this black fungus or mucormycosis. Now mucormycosis, which is also called as black fungus or zygomycosis, it is a serious, but till now, till few months back, it was a rare pathology, but definitely not new. A lot many patients ask me, we have never heard about it. Yeah, because it was a rarity. But post-COVID, we have seen so many cases being registered all over India. I cannot specify just one state. That is the reason almost all the 29 states has declared it as epidemic, and everyone is working to actually relieve this particular pathology, which if not treated at earliest might be dreaded. So this fungal infection, it is caused by molds. Now this group of molds, you'll be surprised to know it is present everywhere in the environment. It is present in the soil. It is present in the rotten fruits, rotten vegetables. It's present in stale food. It's present in the air. But remember, even though it's present everywhere, all of us does not get mucormycosis because of the very fact that we have good immunity. Our health is good. So we'll see in the later slides that which kind of patient will become prone to black fungus or mucormycosis. Now there are various variants that has been cited for mucormycosis, which includes your rhinocerebral, which I'll be dealing in detail, then pulmonary, stomach and intestine, skin and disseminated. Now rhinocerebral, as the name suggests, basically includes your head and neck. That is why most of the cases have been reported to, apart from ENT dental surgeons, because of its intraoral manifestation, because it affects your maxillary sinus, it affects your nose. So at times patient gets pain in the maxillary posterior. thinking it as pulpitis or periodontitis, they might report to you. So it's very important for us to understand that whether it's secondary to pulpitis, periodontitis, or it might be mucormycosis. Pulmonary, stomach, and intestine and skin, they are deep invaginated. So definitely it's gonna be very dreadful, because until unless it resurfaces, we won't be able to appreciate it. Fifth variant is the disseminated variant, which basically follows the hematogenous route, and it can involve almost whole of the body. Now, before talking about mucositis particularly, I would like to cite that there are about 1,54,000 species of fungi which are present in the environment. And out of these, only few are pathogenic to humans. So remember, these fungi will not affect every individual. As I just said, it's present everywhere. So when and where it will actually affect depends on the opportunities that it gets. That is why it has also been given the name of opportunistic infection. The most common opportunistic infection is Candida. Candida albicans, Candida glabrata, Candida tropicalis, all of them are present in our normal oral flora, and they'll be friendly. They are very necessary to keep good health in our body. But when it gets opportunity might be in the form of maybe ulcer, maybe erosion, maybe atrophy. It will proliferate and it will lead to candidiasis. Apart from it, we are even hearing about cases of aspergillosis. So aspergillosis is another pathology which is also, though it's not as fatal as your black fungus, but definitely it can also affect an individual. Then is Cryptococcus, histoplasmosis, pneumocystis, and mucormycosis. Now in this slide only I'll tell about the variants, the color variants that are cited in most of the print media and electronic media as black, white, and yellow fungus. Many students of mine, they ask, ma'am, will they appear black in color? Now, frankly speaking, these are pigmentation, not necessarily you will see the black fungus as black. It will become black only when there is necrosis of your hard palate. Then in the advanced stages only it will lead to black color. Same goes with your white and yellow. White also will not be seen because it's deep seated. It will be affecting the internal organs. And yellow, as I already told you, might be the disseminated variety which is present involving almost whole of the body. So opportunistic infection, there are about 40 opportunistic infection that has been cited by CDC. Now, this is mucormycosis. As you can see in this particular lady, the nasal cavity, your maxillary sinus, your ethmoidal air spaces, your orbit, and even the frontal sinus, apart, if it extends, it can even involve your brain. So detection of it at earliest is very necessary. So as a dentist, though it's been said that ENT will be the best person to guide it, but not necessarily the patient will turn up to ENT. They might turn up to a dentist because of the fact that, as I just told, it might have intraoral presentation, it might camouflage as pain of pulpitis or periodontitis. Now the risk factors. First of all, I'll cite the risk factors which are generally seen in mucormycosis. Then we'll talk about COVID patients. So the main risk factor is immunocompromised status in an individual. Now this can be because of congenital pathologies or acquired. Congenital will all be syndromes. So definitely such patients are more prone to any kind of infection. Forget about mucormycosis. They'll be prone to bacterial infection, to viral infection, and definitely fungal infection, because they usually proliferate when the immunity is less or diminished in an individual. The acquired variant can be seen in diabetes, your cancer, the cancer pathology itself, and the treatment, that is radiotherapy and chemotherapy that is given along with it. HIV and AIDS patient, leukemia patient, multiple myeloma patient, all of them they can develop mucormycosis or any kind of infection. Second is very important point. That is administration of unjudicial corticosteroid. Now remember, this corticosteroid, though, is a wonder medicine, but if it's not given judicially, it can lead to lots of pathology. This corticosteroid, it has anti-inflammatory effect, and this effect We use it, we utilize in asthma, we utilize it in arthritis, we utilize it in many dermatology patients. But if it's not given in right doses, if along with steroids, the serum glucose of an individual is not monitored ritually, it can be very dreadful. So very judicially, we have to think of the doses and duration. The third important point is marked changes in the normal microbial flora. As I just said, we have normal flora, which is very necessary for us. And if it gets affected, definitely we become more prone to infection. I'm giving you one example. If you are giving antibiotic for chronic period of time, remember this antibiotic does not have a brain of its own. It will not only kill the pathogenic microorganism, it will even affect the normal common cell. So when given for chronic time, it's killing your pathogenic, but it's even killing the normal flora, leading to the external, more virulent pathologies to set in an individual. So very important that they should be given judicially. Not every ulcer, not every pus or pustule needs antibiotic all the time. And even the duration is very important. Same has been cited for multivitamins as well. Age again plays a very important role. Extreme ages, whether it's infancy or old age, both these ages, the immunity of the individual is not to its full potential. So definitely they are more prone to any kind of infection. Pregnancy is again one state where most of these infections will set in easily. Hospitalization. A patient who's already suffering from a debilitating disease, they are more prone because of the fact that immunity is compromised, and the other factor being the hygiene. So the last point is hygiene, which I would like to emphasize here only, that since 1.5 years, since this pandemic has set in, we are talking about hygiene so much. Even mucormycosis, it proliferates where hygiene is not there. So the same rule of 20 seconds hand washing, keeping yourself clean, wearing face mask, eating fresh food, all of them will hold good for mucormycosis also. Now, why mucormycosis was seen in post-COVID patients? As we have already seen that systemic steroid, though it is a wonder medicine and it has decreased the mortality of COVID patient, when it was usually administered when the oxygen saturation of the individual were below 92. Definitely, it helped in increasing the oxygen saturation. But apart from that, it had affected the serum glucose in the patient. And there was a time in India, still we have lots of cases, but there was a time when almost all the hospitals were flooded. So patient had, if not had given history of diabetes properly, and the doctor missed out on monitoring the serum glucose, it has led to shooting up of glucose. So along with steroid, it's always necessary, whether a patient is diabetic or non-diabetic, to monitor the glucose ritually with the help of a glucometer. Chronic use of antibiotics, zinc, COVID, iron supplement, will not discuss this, but cocktail of medicine was definitely given in COVID as a hit or trial basis. So that might be one of the reasons that mucormycosis has suddenly set in second wave of COVID. Improper uses of oxygen cylinder can be one of the reasons. Since I just said there was a time when almost all the hospitals were flooded, even we were trying to find rooms and beds for patients. So even hospital people, they were in a panic. At times it happened that the unclean masks were given to new patients. Non-purified water was present in the apparatus which was given to the individual. These can be two reasons why hospital contamination had been seen. And the third, very important, which has been cited by many articles and many researchers, was the difference in the medical oxygen versus industrial oxygen. Now, medical oxygen is approved by FDA. It's approved, its purity is checked. But when the requirement was more, even industrial oxygen was given to reduce the mortality, and leading to contaminated oxygen being provided to the patient and more chances of mucormycosis. Now, before starting with investigation, there is one point which I would like to emphasize. The main indication will come when you'll ask history of the patient. The same way as till now, we were asking history of diabetes, about hypertension, about TB so very ritually. Now it has become important that we should be taking history of COVID also very nicely. Not necessarily everybody has got the RT-PCR done, but if patient is giving history of fever, of sore throat, of cough, cold, breathlessness, definitely keep COVID in mind. If that patient is reporting to you, you have to think about all the complications which are post-COVID. Lab parameters, though I'll emphasize, but they directly will not give you indication that the patient is suffering from mucormycosis, but definitely will indicate chronic infection in a patient. Complete blood count, ESR, fasting blood sugar, post-parental blood sugar, your glycated hemoglobin will help to identify whether your diabetes 2 is checked. Liver function test, renal function test with electrolyte, your hepatitis status, and cerebrospinal fluid. If in case patient is presenting with symptoms which are showing that patient's brain has also been affected. So very important. The second investigation could be in the form of nasal endoscopic examination. As you can see in this particular patient, necrotic debris, the blackish kind of tissue that is coming out of the nose can be collected, and it will help to identify that it contains not only blood, it even has mucositis, mycelia. Microbiology, culture and biopsy are said to be very helpful in identifying this pathology. Biopsy from whichever site has been affected, we can see it under the microscope, and we can see ribbon-like hyphae, which branch at 90 degrees, typical of your mucormycetes. Hyphae in blood vessels, again, it follows a characteristic pattern, mature sporangium of a mucor. So identification of these will confirm it to be mucormycosis. Now coming to radiographic investigation, which will confirm the area involved so that we can try on the treatment protocol, whether to limit it to medicinal or surgical as well. Tomograms. Computed tomography, I'm sure you people know that heart tissue involvement is usually checked by computed tomography. But in this case, even the contrast enhancement with 3D reconstruction is very necessary so that you can see the whole of the pathology, or you can see it in totality. Magnetic resonance imaging, it is usually advised for soft tissue involvement. Now, when we are talking about rhinocerebral orbital mucormycosis, there is involvement of soft tissue. So MRI is also a very important modality to confirm it. Since we are saying it affects your sinus more, your maxillary sinus, ethmoid sinus, frontal sinus. So MRI PNS, that is paranasal sinus, is what is indicated. And if in case patient is giving symptom, even brain contrast study is advised. Pulmonary CT or even chest X-ray. Matter of fact, I'll show you one pic where even a X-ray chest has been very beneficial in identifying that the lung had been involved in mucormycetes. Now I have placed a panoramic radiograph. This is because of the fact that in a dental clinic, not necessarily you'll be having CT or you're having MRI, but definitely clinics have the option of panoramic radiograph. Even a screening through panoramic radiograph definitely helped in identifying the pathology. This is a picture of a patient who had given symptoms of mucormycosis in the right maxillary sinus. You can appreciate opacification. You can see rarefaction, which might be seen even in sinusitis. But remember, the symptoms are going to be varied. If in case patient has shown some opacification or rarefaction in maxillary sinus, should definitely advise patient MRI or CT, as I just conveyed. Again, there is a patient where definitely there is bone involvement. You can see that bone has resorbed. But there is one area where there is unexplained extensive bone resorption. Even this should be kept in mind. So history should be correlated with the radiographic presentation. Here you can see even the inferior outline of the maxillary sinus is not intact. So very important that if patient is giving history of COVID, should think of mucormycosis also in the patient. This coronal CT, here you can see that the right maxillary sinus is isodense. Isodense means there is some fluid, there is some inflammation present in the sinus, which is not only involving maxillary sinus. You can see it in the nasal cavity, you can see it in the ethmoidal layer space, and you can even see it in the inferior part of your orbital rim. So all these indications are good enough to confirm it to be mucormycosis. Same here. Patient will show propoptosis, the eyeball will come out. And when axial CT is taken of such patient, you will see inflammation in the orbit. Few MRI images. MRI of this particular patient had shown black turbinate sign, which is a characteristic sign of mucormycosis. Right maxillary sinus is completely iso-intense. Iso-intense, it will show gray, which means that the contrast is not picked up in this particular region, and it might be a case of mucormycosis. Even the nasal cavity, even the ethmoid air cells has been affected. And this is an extreme case of mucormycosis where you can see even the pathology being advanced to your brain. The orbit has been affected, so it can be very lethal. As early as you can detect will be better for the patient. So if through history, if through initial screening, you get a feeling that it might be mucormycosis, definitely go for advancement. In the chest X-ray, as I just said, that at times even chest X-ray can be very beneficial. Now in pneumonia, we have seen that there will be multiple radiopaque foci, but in case of mucormycosis, you will see that they are round, bundle-like radioopicities, which can be appreciated. When taken CT of the same patient, definitely it had shown that the effect was much more. So that is why don't just stop on chest X-ray, because at times it will not show you the exact pathology, but definitely on screening, it will give you indication. Now I'll summarize my presentation with certain do's and don'ts, very important, so that we'll prevent not only from COVID, but even mucormycosis. When you are reporting to a doctor, give your diabetic history very nicely. Should give the history of the medication that you are taking, because secondary to steroid, it's very necessary that at times the oral hypoglycemics that you are taking is also increased, and at times even patient is given insulin to keep a check of it. Then watch for early sign of mucor. Please don't delay the treatment. Many patients, they have this phobia of reporting to doctors, so they'll delay. The more the delay, the more the critical structures will be involved. And finally, maintain basic hygiene and cleanliness. Now this is something which should not go even when the pandemic goes, which we really want to go. So now maintain basic hygiene and cleanliness. Don't self-medication is a big no. I've heard many people taking steroid without even consulting the doctor. Please don't do that. It's a wonder medicine, but it's dreadful. Even antibiotic, please don't take it if it's not required. Delay in reporting cases, again, should not delay it. It can even lead to your orbit being affected, and many a times, I'm sure Dr. Sachin will be emphasizing, many a time we have to compromise, we have to surgically remove the eyeball to actually hold that pathology at that stage only, and ignoring on the medical advice. So I'll finish my presentation with stay home, stay safe, stay clean, and maintain basic hygiene. Thank you. Over to you, Pratna.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your knowledge with us. I think you have already told us some very important points like the risk factors, investigations, and obviously do's and don'ts, which we all have to keep in mind before treating or knowing about the patient. I would now open the platform for the question and answer round. We have a question in the chat box. I would be reading it for you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, this question is from Mr. Surinder Sodhi. The first question he has asked is, please tell the role of Wellscope in the diagnosis of black fungus by OMR consultant.
Okay, Sodhi ji, are you listening me? Because
Yes, I'm listening.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
If you
please.
have just shown, if you have shown to just one doctor, I would like to emphasize that you should get the investigations done. Because I've just
Yeah.
conveyed that which area is
Well,
involved has to be
Yeah,
evaluated.
Yes, well scope is a preventive method. I'm a
Yeah,
maxillofacial surgeon from Punjab, and
Okay.
wanted to share with you that well scope when a patient sometimes report to a dentist, and in the palate there are some ulcers or there is some lesion, and if a well scope it turns yellow and bad, and it gives a very early finding of black fungus, and should be shared because this is one of the very good point for a OMR people if they have a well scope, and the well scope also tells you early signs in case of cancer, pre-cancerous lesions also. So it's a very good equipment. And second, I'm wondering that all factors, diabetes, immunocompromise, everything remains the same for all the patients. Why it was not so common in the first wave, but in the second wave, it became so prevalent and that it turns to be epidemic. So, what is some additional factor that we have to see and we have to do some research on it? Well, I understand, unjudicious use of steroids, unhygienic mask, and everything. All these factors remains common, and immunocompromise, everything so common. Why it was not so common in first wave of COVID, but in second, we have all researchers have to find out some reason for this also.
So
Can you
definitely,
have some?
yeah, I have some idea. Even I have given a thought on it. And what I
Yeah.
can feel is, sir, in the second wave, in the first wave, there were very few patients that were being affected. The hospital could maintain the hygiene. But in the second wave, we heard that almost all the hospitals, whether it was in metro cities, whether it was in villages, the hospitals had exhausted oxygen supply, it has exhausted bed. So many a patient were made to lie outside. So definitely the hygiene was not taken care of. And the industrial oxygen, which we are hearing in the second wave, was not there in the first wave. So when FDA approves, when they check with the purity of the oxygen, it becomes almost medical oxygen is good to be given to patients.
Yes.
But in case
Means-
of industrial oxygen, the contaminants were there, which could be the reason for definitely having mucormycosis, which were not
No,
seen in
means-
the first wave.
Same thing happened in the first wave too also. Hospitals were full, everything was like that. I think something we have to see on the mutant virus which has changed, and something about the absorption of the ferritin, iron, for which this virus is working. Researches are going on this, and something
So,
on the
research in AIMS is going on.
yeah,
This-
this point we have to see. Because
Neurosurgery
we can't-
Neurosurgery department in AIMS, they are conducting, and they have conducted already. They have
So,
surveyed and
yes,
they
I
are-
think
they came to
we
one
have to-
conclusion that maybe it's a variant of.
It's a variant also, and a lot of cases which I have done, actually all the cases of mucormycosis which I have done, they were not even vaccinated, and I think this is one thing we can propagate to this, that vaccination is mandatory. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Very good talk.
My
Very
pleasure,
good
sir.
talk.
My pleasure.
Very good talk. Very good.
Dr.
Thank
Priya, I just like to add one.
Ji, sir.
Am I audible?
Sir, you're
Voice is
audible.
not very
but-
clear.
Yeah, it's not very clear.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yeah,
No,
you're
no,
audible
no,
now.
Yeah, myself, Dr. Prashant Nahar from Pacific Dental College and Hospital, Udaipur. Very nicely question taken up by Dr. Sodi from Punjab and nicely explained by Dr. Priya also. One factor what I would like to add to this, what I feel personally, and I think many of us could realize this also, during the first wave, the situation was not that much panicky. Though we were initially facing the symptoms and signs of COVID, the guidelines for treatment were also regularly being revised, and the general physicians were treating the patients with a caution. But in this wave, it has, because of the mutant variant, it has just started with an abrupt peak, and it was a panicky situation. So if you see the track record of all the patients, majority of the physicians, they just started the steroids with the first day. Majority of the physicians just fearing that the patient might turn up into some cardio or some respiratory problem, and they were depending more on the CT score. Got it? So maybe that to prevent, because if you go to a physician, what the physician will do, they will just try to do the Ramban Dawa to their patients so that they don't get the bad name. And this thing probably aims, or most of the physician or their association is not accepting or realizing that it is the role of the physician which has played an important thing in making this situation a hazardous thing.
Yes,
Nobody is
non-judicious use of steroid. No, non-judicious
Right.
use of steroid is a crime. Yes, yes.
Right from the very first day, they have started using the steroids, whether it was indicated or not.
It was
So I
criminal.
think
It
this
was
is one thing which
criminal.
we
Yes,
should
it was
because
criminal,
all
yes.
all the medical.
Yes, yes, very good.
Thank you, sir.
What we are
Thank
saying
you,
is
sir.
very correct.
Excellent, excellent.
Yes, sir. Sir, on this only, I would also want to add a few things. Primarily, like as what we saw the last time and this time, the variant, the mutant difference is there, number one. Number two, I feel one thing which has changed in our lifestyle is wearing a mask, which we were not wearing prior to the first wave so continuously as we've been doing now. So I feel theoretically in my mind, this could be a very potent and very important aspect which people are not following the hygiene of the mask. They are reusing it continuously. And on history also, when patients we've seen, we've come across individuals who have not maintained that mask hygiene. Number three, sir, the thromboembolic evidence which is found in the aggressive mucormycosis. Something as you, Sodhi sir has very well mentioned, that clotting and ferritin also very important. So let the research go on, and
Yes.
I feel we would. I think we should start and continue the presentation, because we all are eagerly waiting for Sachin sir's presentation too, and we might run out of time. So what I feel is just my opinion that we can go for discussion not after each session, but at the end of the session, so that nobody misses out on the presentation part. It is not that I don't want to answer the queries. We will, I think, sum it up in the end, if everybody agrees to it.
Yes, sir, no
Okay,
problem.
Excellent, excellent.
Okay.
Yes.
Priya ma'am, we have some more questions, so now we'll take it at the end.
No problem at all. Yeah.
So now I would like to introduce my second speaker of the day, Dr. Mohit Pal Singh. Dr. Mohit Pal Singh is currently serving as professor and head of department of oral medicine and radiology and vice principal of Pacific Dental College and Hospital, Debari, Udaipur since 2016. He has graduated from Rajasthan University, Jaipur, and specialized in the field of oral medicine and radiology from KLE Institute of Medical and Dental Sciences, Karnataka in 2002. Dr. Mohit Pal Singh has also accomplished.
I think that's okay, because we've got such an important topic to be discussed today.
Okay, sir.
Sorry for
Just,
interrupting. Thank you so much.
Okay, sir, I will just be finishing.
I'll add to my what you call CV here, that I am very fond of a new found specialty that I am very passionate about, and that is palliative care. So, we have audience who probably may not be dental from non-medical side. We have some representative from the public side also. तो उनको भी ये कहना चाहूँगा कि पैलेटिव केयर एक ऐसी ब्रांच है जिसको अपन लोग नहीं जान पाए थे, मैं खुद नहीं जानता था, ऑफ लेटली मैंने किया है, और हर एक बीमारी रोग में ये काम में आती है. तो at the outset, I would say that that is the only added certification that I have in my qualification. And as Dr. Priya has already covered most of the presentation well, we would go with just the basics of the clinical aspects of mucormycosis. And as me and Dr. Prashant now have been both practice at the same department, and we see cases there, and sir is very actively involved. Yesterday only we did one chairside investigation, and he was key to getting the diagnosis out. And I would request him also to add on to whatever thing I tend to miss out. And the presentation, I feel I'll keep it more experience based rather than theoretically. First case of mucormycosis which came to our clinic was last year, and it came after the first cycle or the first round of the pandemic, and it was through reference. The patient had come, and unfortunately it was bilateral involvement, and he was a non-diabetic who had suffered with COVID, and finally surgically maxillectomy was done. Fortunately for him, the orbital part was spared. Unfortunately for this time, somehow in our practice, what we have experienced is that it's not actually going from bottom to top, rather the teeth are being affected retrograde. So a diagnosis in the beginning is a little difficult on every front. Even me, right now, I'm worried about 2 patients coming to my clinic where we've started treating them on the protocol of periapical pathosis, and we've sent for culture, and we've done that after KOH has come negative, and we've taken a swab through the osteum also by the endoscope with the help of the ENT surgeon. Then only we've kept them in the non-sensitive group. And both these patients are non-COVID. One more thing I feel is we are getting patients who are actually non-COVID, who do not report of any hospitalization, but they present with mucormycosis. This is something which actually kept us thinking. Now, in my personal opinion, I feel this sort of presentation is because patients are not giving history very clearly. And Dr. Prashant Nahar would agree with me. We came across one patient who concealed the history of previous consultations where he was already diagnosed mucormycosis, and he came for the second opinion to us. And the consultant was right there, the other maxillofacial surgeon from our institute only. He was not COVID positive, but he had signs and symptoms of COVID, probably fever and all those things that come up. He didn't still tell us that what actually medications he took. But I can understand at that time what had happened was we have all these Raichans all around. I'm sure he must have been advised by somebody to take some sort of medications preventive, or out of fear he might have taken these medications. And that's where this Ramban Dawa, like what Prashant sir was saying, steroid must have been inefficiently added. Then secondly, these homemade remedies, I feel I have never even heard of so many different kinds of kadas being made. Even my wife tried to force us to have those kadas. Unfortunately, I put my foot down. I don't say they are bad, but we do not know right now. So many concoctions are suggested by different people, and it's a big no-no. Simple, basic things, and most importantly, hygiene is very, very important. Now, all this Dr. Priya has already covered, but just going through it once again, pain, redness around eyes, and starting from top to bottom. And my main references here are, if somebody has read about the Maharashtra State Dental Council's directives, which they have given very clearly, they mentioned this. So I've taken most of it from there. And ICMR guidelines for mucormycosis is one of the main references for this presentation. And I've shared only two cases from my department. Headache, any fever, cough, shortness of breath, nasal discharge, and bloody vomits also can be seen in these cases. If it is starting from the base of cranium, one thing I haven't mentioned here, facial palsy is also reporting, and I'm sure all of you who are practicing must have seen that patients have come to dentists or maxillofacial surgeons with facial palsy, along with a very atypical headache, unilateral, involving the posterior part of the eye, temporal region, followed by facial palsy. Some have reported with pain in the posterior aspect of maxilla and have got maxillary teeth extracted without proper investigation, followed by the exaggerated presentation. Now, we have to be very careful. Not all mobile teeth means mucormycosis. We have to be differentiating them. There is a typical foul odor with that patient. Dental pain where we actually do not find actual causes, and believe me, fear psychosis has really set in. So we have to send this message across to general public that again they should not panic. Yesterday in my own clinic, I had 3 consultations which I personally feel were fear psychosis. Post-COVID patients complaining of atypical dental pain, maxilla, and then finally they said, sir, एक बार check कर लो, कहीं black fungus तो नहीं है. So unnecessary this fear psychosis also should not be fed. Palatal ulcerations, intraoral draining sinuses, even single pustule. Yesterday's patient which came to our clinic at the college was a single pustular lesion started. It was curetaged by a local dentist. It got relieved. Then the patient came to us. The CBCT was done 10 to 11 days back, and we found that mucosal thickness was increased. He was sent for an ENT opinion. He did not follow up, and yesterday he came with a very permanent progression. So in those cases where it is frank, they need to be taken care of. Then sometimes you may have black discolorations, and that is because of mostly necrosis and because of probably excessive clotting there. Periorbital edema, erythema, orbital pain, ptosis, diplopia, and all these are clinical features and should be taken in mind. Then all this has been talked about predisposing factors. And I saw very nice, today only I was reading before this presentation, I saw Dr. Sunira's article which was published in 2014. She has published an article on immunocompetent patient having mucormycosis, which was at that time also mucormycosis with not immunocompromised patient. They found it in an immunocompetent patient. That means it is not something that probably would have been missed out. And I remember seeing my first mucormycosis case way back in 2004 and 5, thanks to one ENT surgeon that we diagnosed together. Now, all this has been covered. One thing I would like to add here is we have a very non-specific destructive pattern which is being seen now. And there have been 2-3 cases where the clinical features have been on one side. We've taken a CBCT or a CT scan the patient is carrying, and we see changes in the other side of the mucosa, maxillary sinus also. First, the maxillectomy was done on one side, followed by the patient being affected on the other side later. So now, because we are experiencing all these kind of things, the management protocols have changed. So the lavage of the contralateral side of maxillary antrum and all is being done, and which I'm sure Sachin sir would enlighten us with that later. MRI and all these Dr. Priya's covered. We'll skip through all these. Just the 7-step approach for prevention, we'll go through this. Again, oral hygiene and maintenance of mask hygiene. I always am emphasizing now that mask hygiene should be there. Now, steam inhalation is controversial because a lot of ENT surgeons have said in their own presentations that probably excessive steam inhalations was also one of the reasons where the mucosal damage was happening in patients, and we had certain patients coming with the nose and the facial burns also. Nasal sprays, betadine mouthwash, glycemic control, and all these are a part of preventive protocol, and proper nutrition, whether it's in form of good food and supplements like vitamin E and things like that. Now, steroids have to be used very judiciously. Now, I get worried as oral physician. For us also, steroids was one of the frontline reliever for glossitis, mucositis, lichen planus, pemphigus. Unfortunately for now, it is just local application, and that also with a lot of care and judiciously, because we do not know what the patient has actually treated himself with initially. Now, the instructions to the patient what they should be actually following. एक तो कोई भी वार्निंग साइन आए, हेडेक, आई का जो कि नॉर्मल से ज्यादा हो, ज्यादा इसमें डरने का नहीं है कि one should not be really panic. They should not miss the warning signs and consult. Just if it is out of hypochondriasis also, and if it happens, there's nothing wrong with it. Now, it should not be considered that in all the cases of COVID-19 or who have been given this treatment may end up for having the mucormycosis, and if need be, if aggressive investigations have to be done in this time, the consent from the patients and the family is mandatory. I feel at this time, this protocol should be followed very well. And suddenly a red line came from Lokesh Boss. I don't know how. Now the management, we'll skip this because let Sachin sir talk about the management part, the antifungal part, amphotericin B, liposomal, and things like that. Now this was the patient who...
Sir, you can cover medicinal management because I'll be focusing on the surgical aspect.
Sir, in that case, the audience that we have now, I feel we would unnecessarily be wasting time. We can just share the names of antifungals, amphotericin B, liposomal 1 to 4 milligrams per body weight daily has to be given. That is also decided by a team of doctors, and I did not want to put it across on a social media right now because we have very unclear guidelines about a maxillofacial surgeon or a dentist in our state at least. So that is why I want to limit my experiences with the diagnostic part only, rather than speaking about the management part, so that I do not fall into a conflict of interest. So that was the idea I had thought. Anyway, sir, besides that, posaconazole tablets are being followed. The regime again should be decided by the competent people, and the patient should follow the strict antifungal therapy. It should not be given up past at least 4 to 6 weeks if advisable, antifungal therapy, so this is a stubborn infection. And surgical part is one of the most important aspects of it. And now we have these discussion of the conservative management where aggressive maxillary in high can be avoided as much as possible. And obviously, with time, I think we will have something good coming up for that. So this was a case which actually had no history of COVID at all, but gave history of fever initially, and post extraction transmitted to our clinic with this palatal perforating and necrotizing region here. And this was diagnosed in our department only. Now that we have a comprehensive clinic in our department, so the pathologists, all of us, we get together and do it there. And QA training was done. Came out positive, and now he's being managed surgically also. I'm not sharing the physical snaps here. This was the second case, and you can see the nasal swab being taken here. You can see it probably nothing was visible actually. There was some bulge probably on the palatal side, transparently. If sir remembers this, I'm sure you would be able to help better if somebody has any question. And this nasal swab also came out as and it was referred and managed. So I would end my presentation here. You see, these radiographs are great actually cannot actually figure out the conventional now. I would think if it's taken at very region, maybe missed out very commonly for such an area. So advanced imaging and advanced diagnostic, I think, to sum it up. Thank you so much, everyone. If there is any query, question, we can discuss it later. We are already behind schedule, and now Sachin sir. Thank you so much, sir. And over to you, doctor. I had requested you to reduce my CV, but not for sir. Go ahead. Sure.
Thank you, sir, for this informative session. We are really honored to have you, and your talk has really enlightened us with everything we want to know. The 7-step approach is really important for us to know. I would now welcome Dr. Sachin Sachdeva, our third speaker of the day. Sir is an oral maxillofacial surgeon and implantologist, currently leading the specialty aesthetics, a unit of Walk-in International Medicinal and Dental Center, West Delhi. Dr. Sachin Sachdeva is MDS, MS, Craniofacial Surgeon, DNB, PhD, FRSH London, FIOMS USA, FCCE USA, FRMCOI, DICOI, and DISOI. He specializes in craniofacial surgery, oral surgery, implantology, facial aesthetics. At present, sir is a visiting consultant at Shri Agrasen International Hospital, Rohini, Delhi. He underwent his graduation and specialization in the field of oral and maxillofacial surgery from Central India. Further, he got specialty training from various parts of Europe and USA. Dr. Sachin Sachdeva, along with his team of plastic surgeons, dermatologists, dental specialists, provide services like maxillofacial aesthetics, dental implants, hair transplants, kids dentistry, braces, gum care, dental and oral surgeries, and he has overall experience of 21 years. Dr. Sachin Sachdeva has been conferred with many awards like Most Commendable Mentor of the Year, IDEA 2018, Excellence in Head and Neck Oncology, IHPA 2016, Gold Medalist in Research, Geneva, Switzerland 2008, Silver Medal Award, Expo University of Malaya for Research, Innovation and Invention 2008, First Prize Research Paper, National Conference 2008. He has Merit Prize in Scientific Paper Presentation, Indian Dental Association 2004, and he is also a University Gold Medalist 99-2000 batch. He is an honorable member of Indian Academy of Osseointegration, member of International Society of Oral Implantology, and member of Indian Dental Association. He would be discussing surgical approach in cases of mucormycosis. Sir, you are invited to take the platform. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pratna. And we just आगे cases को और इसमें discuss करना चाहूँगा. Most of the part is covered by Dr. Priya and Dr. Munsar. So we'll just brush on the medical treatment. So the first thing is complete the treatment of underlying medical disease, discontinued use of antimetabolites and steroids, and systemic amphotericin B, which is with doses these are the previous doses which we gave to the patient, but nowadays every protocol has been changing day by day according to the new researches. So these are the medical management or first line of antifungal therapy and second line antifungal therapy. It is taken from this, as Dr. Mohit sir has discussed, from this Maharashtra state guidelines, PCI guidelines, Maharashtra state. Protocol for prevention of mucormycosis in admit patient. What is the 7-step approach? In post-COVID patient. So time and again, the things were most of the things were focused on the diabetic control of the patient also, because in these patients, the diabetic level or the sugar level is very high. And the second thing is that in a normal patient also, when you are administering high dose of steroids and all, sometimes the diabetic level goes, the sugar level goes up. So it can lead to a strong type of condition in the patient's metabolism. In surgical protocols, we were using aggressive surgical debridement as a previous protocol, because what the difference is in this type of mucormycosis and the previous was, previously it was very aggressive and very devastating region, I can say, which was going to the fat planes, to the sinus areas, to the brain. But in this, what we relate in the COVID, the aggressiveness is not as compared to as the previous. And this is my experience. Maybe it differs from person to person, or institute to institute, or area to area also. But now the aggressive surgical debridement, yes, we are doing in some cases, but not in all cases. We are doing selective debridement of the cases of the necrotic tissue and necrotic bone. So in some cases, yes, orbital exentration along with a team of specialized doctors is done. See, basically it is a team approach, and it's better should be a team approach, because this disease, it is involving the oral cavity also. So the dental surgeons are involved, the nose and sinuses, which involves in some part, in some cases, even the ear was also involved. And then ophthalmology, yes, because this orbit is involved, and after that, cerebellum, neurosurgeons are involved in this. And overall management of the metabolic things are done with the help of physician or metabolic consultants. Use of hyperbaric oxygen. See, hyperbaric oxygen, the very few centers are there in India. I know one of the centers in Hyderabad and one near Nagpur. So, hyperbaric oxygen, previously the research was there that hyperbaric oxygen has a good result on this, because they were considering the necrosis part of mucormycosis. So after the therapy, after the surgical debridement, yes, hyperbaric oxygen was given to the patient. So further in patient care was the extent of the disease to decide whether re-operation. See, if you get clear margins, healthy margins, then there is no need. But yes, you have to recall the patient and check. I will show you one case of recurrence also in this mucormycosis. So I will be discussing this is the very first case. As you can see, it is looking typical case of osteomyelitis. Okay, typical case of osteomyelitis, and many of us can miss also. But yes, biopsy was given, and this is as you can see, there is a alopecia or hair loss, and it's a very, it's not as related hair loss we are seeing the male pattern baldness or everything we are coming across day by day, but आप इसमें देखेंगे कि एब्रप्ट तरीके से हेयर लॉस हो रहा है. सो हेयर लॉस अगर ऐसे पैचेस वगैरह में होता है तो उस पर भी हमें कंसिडर करना होता है, क्योंकि ये स्किन के लीजन है, ठीक है, और ये काफी आप इन लीजन से और अपने ओरल कैविटी के जितने भी लीजन से आप एक डिफरेंशियल डायग्नोसिस को पहुंच सकते हैं, जिसको हम फर्दर इन्वेस्टिगेट कर सकते हैं विद द हेल्प ऑफ अदर स्पेशलिटीज. You can see a nodule here. This is intraoral. So this case was further diagnosed, and further investigation was done, and it was found found the fibromycosis were there, and then it was referred to the higher center. But the patient was giving history of COVID also in this case, and it was referred to the higher center. And unfortunately, we lost the follow-up in this case. The second case was this was case in one of our centers in Mathura, and the case was reported. As the photographs are not clear because these were clicked by. At that time, the patient was not so much in cooperation, so that we can take the photographs also. But yes, you can appreciate the necrosis of the palate here, the oral mucosa. If is the picture is clear? Yeah. In case 3, the patient was given history of extraction. The socket was into the healing phase. Yes, it was a delayed healing, but yes, this was into the phase, and this was the lesion that was reported after 12 days of extraction. So, कोई भी प्रोसीजर हम डेंटल का भी अगर कर रहे हैं तो प्लीज एटलीस्ट मैक्सिलर में थोड़ा सा ध्यान दें. मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम जैसे कोविड हिस्ट्री पेशेंट छुपा भी लेते हैं और कई बार पेशेंट्स को पता भी नहीं रहता बिकॉज वो सिम्टोमेटिक तरीके से कोविड इन्फेक्शन हो जाता है. तो उस चीज का खास तौर से ध्यान देना. एंड यस, द हिस्ट्री ऑफ डायबिटीज बिल्कुल लेनी है. द हिस्ट्री ऑफ एनी इम्यूनोकॉम्प्रोमाइज्ड डिजीज, जो लॉन्ग टर्म कोई थेरेपी चल रही है, उनकी लॉन्ग टर्म कोई दवाइयां चल रही हैं, ये पक्का देखना है. This is the X-ray of the patient. You can see extraction. There is nothing in the socket. मेरे ख्याल से रेडियोलॉजी थोड़ा सा प्रकाश डाल सकते हैं इस पे कि मुझे एटलीस्ट नहीं कुछ एक्स्ट्रा की चीज फाइंड आउट हो रही थी. These were the reports of the patient. Mucosal thickening was seen in the MRI. Next case was, this is the typical case of anybody can see and say this is the case of osteomyelitis. Okay, previously these type of cases were reporting osteomyelitis, and the patient was giving a vague history. Patient was giving a vague history. Yes, it was there from a long time. Now mucormycosis, as we can see, it is a very aggressive lesion and it's a very fast one. So we can miss out that. अगर आप patient के हिस्ट्री के हिसाब से कभी कभार चलते हैं, क्योंकि कई बार जजमेंट नहीं हो पाता है. वो अपनी तरफ से कोशिश कर रहे हैं आपको बताने की, लेकिन कई बार जजमेंट नहीं हो पाता है उस चीज का, और उन्हें भी याद नहीं रहती कई चीजें. एंड म्यूकोरमाइकोसिस का अगर ब्रेन में जैसे जाता है तो यस, ब्रेन फॉग इज वन ऑफ द कॉम्प्लिकेशंस ऑफ म्यूकोरमाइकोसिस, जिसमें आदमी थोड़ा बीच बीच में भूलता रहता है, याद आता रहता है. So he was very old person and जब इन्होंने अपनी हिस्ट्री दी तो यस एक हिस्ट्री एकदम ऑस्टोमेटिक हिस्ट्री की. दिस वाज द केस एंड जस्ट बायोप्सी के लिए भेजा गया एंड फंगाइट्स के लिए भी चेक कराया गया. यस फंगाइट्स के लिए चेक कराया गया तो पॉजिटिव पाया गया. This part was removed. The photographs are not so clear. So this was the, after clearing, this was the healthy space. Another case, this case reported last year. The patient underwent for a root canal therapy in a very big hospital. So patient developed a small ulcer. The photograph of ulcer is not present because these photographs were taken after 5 days. When the ulcer was not healing, they called me and I just told them to just keep the photographs and send. And see, this is not a as you can see. And last year इतना म्यूकोरमाइकोसिस का था भी नहीं, तो आप इस अल्सर को देख के एकदम से एक जंपिंग कंक्लूजन में नहीं पहुंच सकते. बट यस सिंपल एब्सेस अल्सर जैसा भी नहीं था. सो फर्दर इन्वेस्टिगेशन की जरूरत थी. एंड सिंस मैंने म्यूकोरमाइकोसिस के केसेस जो है 2002 में, 2003 में, 2004 में वर्धा में, महाराष्ट्र में देखे हुए हैं. इस टाइप के रूरल एरिया में काफी इम्यूनोकॉम्प्रोमाइज्ड पेशेंट्स आ जाते थे जिनको पता नहीं रहता था. एंड यस पुअर हाइजीन की वजह से कोई भी आप रीजन ले सकते हैं, उस वजह से म्यूकोरमाइकोसिस रहता था पेशेंट्स को. सो एक रेयर आइडिया दिमाग में आ गया. एंड यस जब रेयर दिमाग में आया तो फर्दर इन्वेस्टिगेशन को उठा. पेशेंट थोड़े से पेशेंट डायबिटिक थे, बट यस उनका एकदम से ऐसा सुनने के बाद में ये था कि कहीं दवाई से ठीक हो जाएगा. समटाइम्स पेशेंट थोड़ा सा अपना, हर कोई इंसान चाहता है कि सर्जरी से बचाव हो जाए. सो उन्होंने सबसे पहले दूसरी जगह गए, वहां पर अलग से उनकी बायोप्सी ली गई. एंड इतना कॉमन डिजीज नहीं है तो कंसल्टेंट्स मिस आउट कर जाते हैं. मुझे बाद में पूरी हिस्ट्री मिली पेशेंट से एक बार फिर से, बिकॉज उस टाइम पे तो वी लॉस्ट द फॉलोअप. वो दूसरे हॉस्पिटल में गए, वहां पर उनका एक कैंसर हॉस्पिटल में गए और कैंसर हॉस्पिटल में बायोप्सी उन्होंने कैंसर के सेल्स के लिए ले ली है, कमर्शियल कार्सिनोमा ली, जो कि नेगेटिव ही आई. सो उन्होंने फिर मेडिसिन दे दी उनको, एंटीबायोटिक का एक कोर्स कर दिया. फिर 6-7 बार वो एंटीबायोटिक का एक प्रॉपर कोर्स कर चुके थे अलग अलग जगह से. एंड फंगल के लिए किसी ने उस टाइम पे ध्यान नहीं दिया. देन अगेन मेरे पास में अप्रोच किया उनको. सो मैंने उनको पहले बोला, मैंने कहा आपको सीटी स्कैन है, एमआरआई के लिए जैसे मैंने बोला आप एक बार वो करवाइए, फिर मैं आपको बताता हूँ कैसे. एंड मैंने उनको गाइड किया. यहाँ पर बहुत फेमस हॉस्पिटल है, बड़ा हॉस्पिटल, वहाँ पर गाइड किया और वहाँ के कंसल्टेंट से खुद बात की. इज अ प्लास्टिक सर्जन, और उनसे खुद बात की मैंने कि ऐसा केस है, हर जगह से मिसडायग्नोस हो गया है. देन उन्होंने एक अलग पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से सोचना स्टार्ट किया और अक्टूबर में, ये पिछली जुलाई का केस है, अक्टूबर में जाके जब केस बढ़ चुका था इतना और हाफ ऑफ द पैलेट वाज गॉन, अक्टूबर में बहुत स्लो ग्रो हो रहा था. इतना एग्रेसिव नहीं ग्रो हो रहा था, बहुत स्लो ग्रो हो रहा था. नहीं तो अक्टूबर तक जैसे म्यूकोरमाइकोसिस अपनी पुरानी हिस्ट्री, अगर आप म्यूकोरमाइकोसिस में के टाइम में वो ब्रेक में चला जाता. सो अक्टूबर तक ये हुआ. उसके बाद में डायग्नोसिस वगैरह उनका प्लान किया और हिस्टोपैथोलॉजिकली उनके पास में प्रूफ आया. बाय द टाइम इट वाज दिसंबर मिड, सो ही वाज ऑपरेटेड एंड उनकी मैक्सिलेक्टोमी करी. मैक्सिलेक्टोमी ये दिसंबर तक हो गया था. एंड जब मैक्सिलेक्टोमी हुई, मैक्सिलेक्टोमी के बाद में सिंस द पेशेंट वाज डायबिटिक बट एंड म्यूकोरमाइकोसिस में रिकंस्ट्रक्शन के लिए इतना पहले वो नहीं करते. इट इज नॉट अ कैंसर कि आप उसको रिकंस्ट्रक्ट करें, बिकॉज इसमें अंदर दोबारा से निकलने के चांसेस, दोबारा होने के चांसेस हो जाते हैं. बट सिंस द प्रोटोकॉल्स ऑफ दैट हॉस्पिटल वाज नॉट टू, प्लास्टिक सर्जन ने रिकंस्ट्रक्शन भी कर दिया. एंड सिंस द पेशेंट वाज वेरी हाई ऑन दिस डायबिटीज है ना, वो फ्लैप फेल हो गया एंड उसको अगेन एक रीसर्जरी करके रिमूव किया. This is the scintigraphy the patient. And उनका amphotericin B वगैरह start हुआ उस hospital में. So patient after that, the patient was all okay. Then the prosthesis वगैरह design किया and quick prosthesis दिया. This is a type of cast partial obturator, you can say. Now again, this April end, they found something here and उन्होंने concern दिखाया. अब usually palate में ऐसे normal crustaceans जो होते रहते हैं. They are very common. Post-surgical crustacean होते रहते हैं, but कोई chance miss out नहीं करना चाहिए, इसलिए short biopsy के लिए फिर से लगे और फिर से अभी देखा तो फिर से mucorales positive है. So again, the treatment is going on for this patient. Maybe this time थोड़ा सा aggressive होता है. Next case is, this is not our case. जब मैंने बताया कि मेरा presentation है इस whole body active management, तो काफी मेरे जो friends हैं उन्होंने all over the India उन्होंने काफी मुझे contribute किया अपने cases के साथ. So अब इस केस में आप देखेंगे थोड़ा सा बताना चाहूँगा, आप बाहर की तरफ देखें तो काफी नेक्रोसिस है. तो एक श्योर शॉट मैलिग्नेंसी या श्योर शॉट एक बहुत डेवास्टेटिंग लीजन का वो है. लेकिन अगर पेशेंट की हिस्ट्री लेंगे तो पेशेंट की हिस्ट्री बहुत शॉर्ट थी एंड इट वाज द पीरियड ऑफ जस्ट 22-23 days that this happened. And after debridement, this was the picture. I'll just forward it fast. Now this was a lesion and the patient was on Ryle's tube. You can see a nasogastric tube here, Ryle's tube. The patient was taking everything from home and this was a very big lesion of mucormycosis. You can see a classical sign of proptosis of eye because the when it goes behind the eyeball and it keeps on pressuring there. This was a proptosis of eye. So excision of the lesion under general anesthesia was done. This is the resected specimen. After surgery, the slough was there, and obturator was given to the patient. So yes, and after surgery there are some complications also, and these are the various complications. Cavernous thrombosis, blindness, central artery occlusion हो जाता है जिस वजह से. Then airway obstruction and all. मैं आप जिस केस के बारे में आपको थोड़ा सा डिटेल में बता रहा था कि that case जिसमें recurrence हुआ है अभी. Yes, the person has lost his vision on the left eye now. अभी भी उनका डायबिटीज जो है काफी कंट्रोल में था, अचानक से मार्च में वापस शुगर हो गई. मे बी asymptomatic कोविड इन्फेक्शन फिर से हुआ और जो कि उनको पता न चला. So prognosis is guarded in this type of patient forever. With early detection and early treatment, the survival rate is improved. Now, मैंने थोड़ा सा मेडिकल्स के हिसाब से प्रेजेंटेशन अपना रखा था और इसलिए कुछ केसेस भी इंक्लूड किए थे, बट अगर जनरल पब्लिक है तो आई डोंट थिंक सर्जरी के मुझे वीडियोस दिखाने ही चाहिए. So we can go for a question answer round. प्रशांत सर, आपकी आवाज क्लियर नहीं आ रही है.
Can you hear me now, sir?
सर बीच में बहुत डिस्टरबेंस आ रहा है, थोड़ा सा. हाँ जी
मेरी आवाज साफ है सर?
जी सर.
Am I audible now? Yes sir. Sir, very nice presentation, sir. Sir, my question is related to the last slide, concluding slide. that is a special concern, early diagnosis and multidisciplinary approach. But we, as a general dental surgeon, in our normal common OPD and even in the dental colleges OPD, we lie somewhere in between the early diagnosis and multidisciplinary approach. Because presently, as Dr. Priya had already said, that 29 states, I think 22 states have already declared this particular disease as the state notified disease. And most of the states have now designated the hospitals where the patient has to be referred, and only those hospitals are supposed to treat the patient.
Correct.
If anybody is treating these patients, it is a different case. Now, my question lies that once we
These all cases are treated in hospitals, designated hospitals
Exactly,
also,
sir.
because it is not, we can't treat them in clinic. Such a
Exactly.
surgical
So my concern is that जब हम पेशेंट को डायग्नोज करते हैं और जब तक पेशेंट आपके हॉस्पिटल तक पहुंचता है, वो पहले हमारे पास आने में ही उसको करीबन 7 से 10 दिन या 8 दिन हो चुके होते हैं, और डेजिग्नेटेड हॉस्पिटल तक पहुंचने में उसको और अगले 2 या 3 या 4 दिन लग सकते हैं, because so many factors govern, maybe economical factor, maybe some other right changes are also there who will motivate him or demotivate him or guide him correctly or wrongly. So in between, can we as precautionary measure or some preventive treatment we can start at our end which arrest the further progress of this disease? Are there any things what we can have in our hand? Not surgical, but medicinal.
Even sir, in medicine treatment without diagnosis, and this you can't start any therapy because of
डायग्नोसिस ऐसा है सर कि अगर हमारे पास में अच्छा इंस्ट्रूमेंट बैकअप है तो विदिन few hours we can get the preliminary report.
मैं सर वही आपसे कहना चाहूँगा, अच्छा इंस्ट्रूमेंट बैकअप है, लेकिन पेशेंट को आपको रेफर फिर भी करना पड़ेगा, हॉस्पिटल के थ्रू ही हो पाएगा. तो अनलेस एंड अनटिल हमें एक डाउट आता है, जैसे सबसे पहले कि यस दिस कैन बी म्यूकोरमाइकोसिस, बिकॉज़ अभी कुछ दिन पहले एक आई थिंक आंध्रा से एक केस रिपोर्ट आई थी हमारे ओरल सर्जरी की पेरियो डिपार्टमेंट से. इनफैक्ट पेशेंट वाज हैविंग अ पेरियोडोंटल कंसर्न एंड कहीं पे कुछ मतलब आप देख के कह सकते हैं कहीं पे कुछ म्यूकोरमाइकोसिस का वो नहीं था, बस जस्ट इट वाज जस्ट अ डाउट को कंफर्म करने के लिए स्कैन वगैरह किए और यस देखा गया बाद में तो म्यूकोरमाइकोसिस का केस निकला. बट दिस टाइप ऑफ लीजन्स वर नॉट प्रेजेंट. अगर इस टाइप ऑफ लीजन तो द पेशेंट इज ऑलरेडी कमिंग लेट. अगर इस टाइप के लीजन है हमारे पास तो ऑलरेडी पेशेंट इज कमिंग लेट. सो उस केस में बस अर्ली रेफरल हमारी तरफ से जो किया जा सकता है दैट नाउडेज अभी के प्रोटोकॉल्स जो गवर्नमेंट के प्रोटोकॉल्स और नॉर्म है उसकी वजह से जो अभी आप कर सकते हैं दैट इज अर्ली रेफरल. बिल्कुल लीगली आप लेके चलें इस चीज को या किसी भी चीज से लेके चलें, बिकॉज यस एज अ डॉक्टर आल्सो हम लीगली बाउंड तो हैं. तो आप अगर लेके चल तो यस आप अगर उस पर्टिकुलर हॉस्पिटल में भी अगर आप सेम कंसल्टेंट हैं और आप ही उस पोजीशन पे ले रहे हैं यस, तो वहां पर आप फिर अपने बाकी के जितने भी इन्वेस्टिगेशन वगैरह हैं जो भी इसके डायग्नोसिस करने की जरूरत है बिल्कुल स्पीड से कराया जा सकते हैं. जितना जल्दी हो सकता है, जितना जल्दी हो सकता है पेशेंट को कम से कम लीजन में इससे पहले कि लीजन उसका बढ़ जाए, जितना जल्दी ऑपरेट कर देंगे उतना ज्यादा अच्छा है.
Thank you, sir, for your such a good session. We have some questions. First question is from Shraddha. If the patient had COVID and got treated at home, his medical history involves diabetic and blood pressure. HbA1c value is 11. He is on medication. What are the chances of him getting infected?
See, one of the factors we have told is that HbA1c is 11. So yes, common danger radar is there. Is already immunocompromised. The danger radar is there, but yes, if any symptom is not there, anything is not there, so there is nothing to panic about. डायबिटिक पेशेंट अगर आप इंडिया में आज की डेट में निकालेंगे तो एक बहुत बड़ा परसेंटेज. तो हम और उनमें से कितने लोगों को असिम्प्टोमेटिक कोविड होके निकल गया या माइल्ड फीवर और उससे कोविड होके निकल गया, ये नेवर. बट यस जो द पेशेंट इज डायबिटिक कंसर्न तो रहेगा एंड द डेंजर इज देयर. तो हाइजीन का उसमें पूरा ध्यान रखना है। जैसे मास्क का एक बहुत अच्छा एग्जांपल दिया गया था अभी कि मास्क के जो प्रोटोकॉल्स हैं इस साल के पिछले साल के मुकाबले पिछले साल क्यों नहीं था इस साल क्यों है। मास्क आप टोटल जो मास्क पहनते मास्क की हाइजीन बहुत जरूरी है, जो कि हो नहीं रही है पाबंदी आप देखेंगे। तो उसमें क्या है कि आप जैसे जैसे आप ब्रीथ कर रहे हैं ह्यूमिडिफिकेशन इज देयर, ओके, रेज ऑफ टेम्परेचर इज देयर जब आप सांस ले रहे हैं। तो फंगल किसी भी फंगस के लिए these are the very good media to grow. तो मास्क की हाइजीन बहुत जरूरी है।
Okay, sir. Thank you for this answer. We have next question from SKM. What is the role of zinc here? Does steam inhalations play any role in this fight?
I think I had answered that previously only, that these different theories have come, and I think there was a news also where they found in Haryana that there were certain patients, a certain number, who did not fall into any category. So this industrial oxygen therapy theory was ruled out, diabetic theory was ruled out, medicine, the polypharmacy, what we are saying, that was ruled out. So there is a certain gray zone. Now this is a newer therapy. I feel that zinc, they are saying that zinc promotes the growth of certain microflora also. Although we've been reading about the zinc boosting our immunity from the beginning, but this has come from a research oriented team, so we cannot rule this out. And this is quite a probability that I think a lot of population, including me, except for Zincovit and Limsi, I don't think I consumed anything. But I'm sure most of us present here must have had Zincovit and Limsi. So probably zinc probably does have a role.
Okay. He also
That's why बार-बार ये चीज की जाती है कि ड्रग्स को यूज करना चाहिए, उसका अब्यूज नहीं करना चाहिए।
हाँ सर, बिल्कुल।
Sir, he's also asking that whether steam inhalation play any role in the spike of mucormycosis?
That I had already told previously in my presentation time that injudicious steam inhalation cases we have seen that there have been external burns also. People have done बहुत injudicious and overzealous steam inhalation किया है. I am quoting here. I visited between the first wave and second wave. We were traveling somewhere, so I visited a family. A relative of mine, they were judiciously 3-4 times a day, they were doing steam inhalation. I said, what, are you having some problem? No, it is preventive steam inhalation. So I was amused and I requested them because they're very close to me. I said, please don't do this because I feel we should do it only if we have congestion. So you can have warm water, but you cannot have boiling water because I've seen people drink near to boiling water just to avoid having this scare that somebody told them कि आप गर्म पानी पीते हो, गर्म पानी से बैक्टीरिया थोड़ी मरता है, आपको इससे भी गर्म पीना चाहिए. तो there were people with I'm not saying hypothetically, I have seen patients with posterior pharyngeal wall burns, palatal burns because of excessive hot water consumption. And the reason was the fear psychosis set in and somebody told कि हम पहले गर्म पानी पीते थे, फिर उन्होंने कहा कि बहुत गर्म करो तो वो nearly boiling water पीने लगे.
Even you're right, sir. Even some cases of eroded nasal mucosa were seen
Exactly,
with aggressive steam inhalation.
Yes, sir. अभी एम्स का एक सिम्पोजियम हुआ था, उसके अंदर ENT फैकल्टी ने बहुत क्लियरली एविडेंस बेस्ड इसका एक्सप्लेनेशन दिया था कि excessive injudicious steam inhalation probably also has made the mucosa more likely for lodgement of this invasive fungus.
The next question is, at what stage or sign or symptom?
That I have answered, boss Lokesh boss personally in chat I have done. but
Okay, sir.
I can share it with others also. In my opinion, quote unquote, in my opinion, I feel that if there is no clear dental pathology and unclear toothache is there, without evidence of frank caries or small periodontal pocket, even deeper periodontal pocket, and if the patient has got COVID history, we should rule out always a chance, because we are seeing so many cases which have been primarily been treated for a parulus or a gum boil with uh, proper protocol and no malicious intention, but the blame of that curettage is coming to the dentist for supposedly not diagnosing it at that time. And believe me, for any one of us for that matter, ये आसान नहीं है, क्योंकि मैंने आपसे कहा इस बार ऐसा लग रहा है जैसे ऊपर से ये इन्फेक्शन नीचे की तरफ आ रहा है और फेशियल पैल्सीज और म्यूकोजल इन्वॉल्वमेंट साइनसेस की ज्यादा है और टूथ में रिट्रोग्रेड इन्फेक्शन हो रहा है। तो पेरिडोंटल स्टेटस भी सही होता है, डेंटल केरीज नहीं होती है, टूथेक होता है, टेंडरनेस ऑन परकशन होती है। उस टेंडरनेस ऑन परकशन पे पीपल एंड अप डूइंग एंडोडोंटिक ट्रीटमेंट फ्रॉम सेकंड मोलर ऑनवर्ड एंड थर्ड मोलर्स के एक्सट्रैक्शन हो जाते हैं। और अगर किसी के अंदर वो एक्चुअली में रिट्रोग्रेड इन्फेक्शन है और अपन आईओपी पे क्लियरली नहीं देख पा रहे हैं, तो वी शुड कंसिडर इट एज राइनोमैक्सिलरी म्यूकरमाइकोसिस। एक क्यूएच आपको स्वैब ही लेना है, and you can always have an ENT opinion for the sinus, non-invasive endoscopic evaluation, and then we can proceed rather than getting the blame in the present situation. And काफी सारे cases post extraction, post endo, जैसे सर ने लास्ट वाला जो केस भी दिखाया वो पोस्ट एंडो था, तो वो ग्रेटर पैलेटाइन रीजन के अंदर सपोज इन्फिल्ट्रेट किया या उसको लगाया, ग्रेटर पैलेटाइन नर्व को इंजेक्ट लगाया, उसको एट्रीब्यूट कर रहा होगा सर ने, वो यहाँ सुई लगाई थी तब से,
यहाँ सुई लगाई थी इस वजह से वहाँ लीजन हो गया। यस डेफिनेटली ब्लेम के लिए तैयार रहना चाहिए।
तो बेटर सेफ देन सॉरी आई फील एट दिस मोमेंट, नॉट टू द पैरानॉइड लेवल पर सेंसिबली सेंसिटिव टू इट।
Nowadays हर सेकंड पेशेंट जो है वो कोई भी डेंटल में कुछ भी प्रॉब्लम होती है तो पहली कंसर्न ब्लैक फंगस की लेके आ रहा है आपके पास।
हाँ सर, कल 2 पेशेंट आए थे सर कि एक बार देख लो क्या प्रॉब्लम है, कि वेग एटिपिकल पेन है, तो उनका ओपीजी और सीबीसीटी कराया सर, किया था, वो सीबीसीटी में ही ओपीजी रिकंस्ट्रक्ट हो गया।
I have a question.
Sorry, I was just saying if in our team for suspected mucormycosis, Oracle CBCT Center here, Dr. Evan Mathur has volunteered, put it on all social platforms. If anybody is suspecting mucormycosis in patients, he is doing a free scan for them. So that is a wonderful humanitarian social work that he has initiated on his own. And for me also, wherever and together we've been able to diagnose a few cases in screening. So there are people who are working as warriors alongside with all of us, whoever have put in our own efforts in our own ways. Sorry, I broke you.
Dr. Sachin, I have a question from you. We are day-to-day working in our clinic. So many times we have post-COVID patients, an old patient complaining of pain. We need to go in for an extraction. So after the patient has turned negative and he has undergone all the treatment, the zinc, the steroids, he's hypertensive, diabetic, when can we plan extraction as a dental surgeon?
अभी जो प्रोटोकॉल्स के हिसाब से हैं, और इफ मैक्सिलरी एक्सट्रैक्शन के लिए अगर मैं जहाँ तक बोल रहा हूँ, ये जितनी भी चीजें एटलीस्ट 3 months का गैप के लिए कि आप कोई भी प्रोसीजर को डेफर करें 3 months के लिए, बिकॉज अभी म्यूकरमाइकोसिस के केसेस बहुत जिस हिसाब से बढ़ रहे हैं। सो आप मान के चलिए जैसे 29 स्टेट्स में इसको डिक्लेयर कर दिया गया एक मेजर डिजीज के तौर पे, तो अभी हमारी तरफ से सिर्फ यही सपोर्ट एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं कि अगर इमरजेंसी नहीं है, बहुत ज्यादा पेन नहीं है, तो यस मेडिसिनल मैनेजमेंट पे 3 months के कंप्लीट करेंगे।
वो ही मैंने पॉस को भी रिप्लाई किया था. 3 to 4 months any aggressive surgical procedure should be avoided. Even for that matter, if a paralysis or abscess is there fluctuate, तो उसको needle से aspire करें, wide bore needle से, rather than putting a blade incision there. Because वो blade लगाने के बाद में अगर suppose वो KOH positive आता है तो वो attribution वापस से आएगा कि it was a jab, a big jab which was done. So as conservative as possible.
May I add something? One line is excellent.
Yes,
discussion
sir.
going on.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It is, Dr. Achin, excellent presentation by you. And 3 months is an excellent guideline and a message we should convey that post-COVID, we should not do any surgical procedure, not expensive, but also for implant. What is happening? Implant surgery, doctor or a dentist is desperate to put an implant. Now, for that also, we have to warn all the, dentists, our friends, please wait for another 3 months in post-COVID patient until such time all the parameters, their ferritin level, their DMR, everything is perfect. Then only they should try because this implant is again going to fail and they will be in trouble. I think we should add this implant because I'm very sure, the dentist is very keen to put an implant.
Yes, sir, is very right. Elective procedures तो बिल्कुल postpone करने ही करना है. मैं तो emergency के लिए बोल रहा हूँ कि 3 months elective procedure तो बिल्कुल ही postpone करना है.
हमारे भाई दोस्त तैयार बैठे हैं इम्प्लांट. अचिन नहीं डालता, मैं डाल दूंगा, अभी डालता हूँ.
सर लेकिन हेलो
हाँ जी.
हाँ सर, समटाइम्स हम नहीं जानते कि वो पोस्ट कोविड है. एसिम्प्टोमेटिक कोविड भी बहुत सारे हैं, माइल्ड सिम्प्टोमेटिक भी हैं. देन इन दैट केसेस वी कैन नॉट फाइंड आउट कि करना है नहीं करना है, जो महीने कब है.
जो वो उसके लिए हमें उसका जो बाकी पैरामीटर्स है, सीबीसी, फेरिटिन, डीएमआर, बाकी पैरामीटर्स जो कराने थे वो कम से कम नॉर्मल हो. उसका एलडीएच नंबर, एलडीएच, बाकी जो पैरामीटर जो लेबोरेटरी टेस्ट है जो पोस्ट कोविड काफी देर तक खराब रहते हैं, एलडीएच खराब रहता है, डीएमआर खराब रहता है, फेरिटिन लेवल खराब रहता है. अगर उसके सही आ रहे हैं फिर कोई चिंता नहीं है. माइल्ड हुआ था बट उसका सारा कुछ सही है, लगा दो, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. बट उसका पोस्ट कोविड वो क्योंकि हम लोग वी आर गोइंग अक्रॉस ए पेंडेमिक. अगर जहां पर हम सीबीसी, वायरल मार्कर, कुछ बेसिक टेस्ट कराते हैं तो वहां पर पोस्ट कोविड में ये वाले ऐड करने मैं पर्सनल फील करता हूं, कर देना अच्छी बात है. इसमें मतलब आप ही का भला है कि तो वो वहां पर कोई ना कोई रेज आएगा. सीआरपी अगर वो ठीक हो रहा वो भी रेज आ सकता है. सीआरपी कराए, सीआरपी की बात नहीं हुई, सीआरपी कराए, डीएमआई कराए, फेरिटिन कराए, एलडीएच कराए, ये सारे टेस्ट ऐड कर दे जो रूटीन हम सीबीसी, वायरल मार्कर या और यूरिन और रूटीन टेस्ट कराते हैं उसमें हम इसको ऐड करना. जो इसके बारे में अभी हम लोग साइलेंट बैठे हैं, ये ऐड करना मेरा पर्सनल व्यू है. अभी इधर किसी बुक या उसमें नहीं ऐड हुआ है.
एक सजेशन मेरा ये भी है, जो इंस्टीट्यूशनल लेवल पे हम करते हैं सर, जब प्री स्क्रीनिंग एरिया है, एक अंडरटेकिंग ऑफ कोविड एक्सपोजर फ्रॉम या डिस्क्लोजर फ्रॉम द पेशेंट, रिटन, वर्बल तो अपन हाँ वो लेके अगर अपन इलेक्टिव या नॉन इलेक्टिव किसी भी प्रोसीजर में जा रहे हैं, अगर वो अंडरटेकिंग अपन ले लेते हैं, दैट आल्सो सेफगार्ड्स.
इट विल हेल्प अस. लेकिन अगर इम्प्लांट फेल होता है, कुछ होता है, दुख तो आपको भी लगता है ना यार, क्या होगा.
एग्जैक्टली नहीं सर, ये तो मैं आपके
उसके
सजेशन बोल रहा हूँ.
हाँ, इसमें ऐड
वो तो
होना चाहिए. हाँ, वो बहुत जरूरी है, बहुत जरूरी है.
सर एक और प्रोटोकॉल स्टार्ट करना चाहिए कि वैक्सीनेटेड पेशेंट्स को आप जिस चीज के लिए आप प्रमोट कर सकते हैं, मतलब किस चीज के लिए बोला जा सकता है, उनको अवेयर किया जा सकता है. उसमें यस, आप सबसे पहले अगर मेरे को कोई कॉल आता है जाता है तो मैं सबसे पहला क्वेश्चन मेरा स्टाफ पेशेंट से यही पूछता है कि आपने वैक्सीनेशन लिया है कि नहीं. क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं आपको एक मैसेज कन्वे करना है कि फ्यूचर में अगर आपने वैक्सीनेशन नहीं ले रखा होगा तो आपको काफी चीजों से रोक दिया जाएगा.
Yes sir, certification first वाला second वाला मतलब completely जो भी है, otherwise अगर आपका एक jab लगा हुआ है तो आप कोविन ऐप से आपको निकाल के certificate
Yes. In my college, all the students, staff, and faculty is vaccinated, and we have issued a letter that they have to submit their vaccinated report by the state. They all have submitted, and those who are willingly not submitting the vaccination कि मैंने नहीं लगवाना है, okay, then they have to show their antigen or RT-PCR report on every Monday. Because of the fear of that, now they are getting vaccinated. So these are few tricks.
Wonderful sir, wonderful sir.
Wonderful thing. या तो वैक्सीनेशन का रिपोर्ट आप दिखाओ, जमा कराओ, पूरा सिस्टम मेरा ये पूरा बबल मेरे कॉलेज का पूरा सही चाहिए. तो उसमें जिसका नहीं है कोई बात नहीं, मत कराओ, लेकिन मुझे फिर आपका पीसीआर रिपोर्ट चाहिए या रैट रिपोर्ट चाहिए. अभी सबने करा दिया, मेरा स्वीपर भी और सिक्योरिटी वाला सबके सब इसी में, इस डर के मारे में वो नाक में डालते हैं, रहने दो. तो वो सब करवाए हैं, उसकी वजह से ये मुझे एक मेरा काम आया. और हाँ, these are few things we can add, and I have seen in my cases that all the cases what we have seen at Faridkot, that all those black this fungus mucor cases, they were not vaccinated. I don't know why. They were not vaccinated. I don't know.
Sir is right. वैक्सीनेशन का सभी पेशेंट्स में भी ये देखा गया है कि बहुत, मतलब आप वैक्सीनेशन का भी परसेंटेज आप हार्डली देखेंगे इन पेशेंट में होगा जिनको भी म्यूकर के केसेस हो.
Yes sir.
वैक्सीनेशन नहीं था.
ये भी हम इसको आगे प्रोपेगेट कर सकते हैं कि वैक्सीनेशन करने से फंगल नहीं होती है, तो उससे ब्लैक फंगस सिटी सो फल्मिनेटिंग, तो लोग डर के मारे भी, क्योंकि डर ही एक ऐसा चीज है जिसकी वजह से
डर की बात नहीं है. ऑल ओवर इंडिया से सर, ऑल ओवर इंडिया से डेटा जो है, उस सारे डेटा में ये है कि जितने भी म्यूकर के पेशेंट्स हैं, आप अगर उनमें लगाओगे तो हार्डली मेरे ख्याल से 0.001% कोई पेशेंट ऐसा होगा जिसने वैक्सीनेशन के बाद में इसको हो गया हो, अदरवाइज सबकी वैक्सीनेशन नहीं हुई है.
इसलिए एक बहुत बड़ा रीजन मैं पर्सनली मानता हूँ. और डर के साथ ही आगे हमारा कोई भी काम होता है, ये हमारे हिंदुस्तानियों की सच्चाई है, चाहे वो डंडा है या कुछ और है. हमें डर से ही हम लोग मार जाते हैं, अपने आप से नहीं आते. मास्क भी हमें तभी लगाएंगे लोग अगर डंडा पड़ता है, नहीं तो नहीं लगाया. तो ये कुछ चीजें हमें सीखनी है, और वैक्सीनेशन को भी ऐसे प्रोपेगेट करके ब्लैक फंगस हो जाएगा, वैक्सीनेशन लगवा लें. Thank you very much. It was a very exhaustive discussion and very good deliberation, and such a good, wonderful talk.
Thank you, sir. Pratna?
I think we have come to an end, and thanks to everyone for giving us your precious time. I would just invite for a short vote of thanks from the pillar of this whole webinar, Dr. Sanjay Chauhan, sir. Sir, where are you?
Thank you, Pratna.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir, you're audible.
Thank you very much, Sachin sir, Mohitpal sir, and my dear sister Priya. Thank you very much. लगभग 1 महीने पहले हमने ये स्टार्ट किया था. ये 1 मंथ सब लोगों के लिए काफी बिजी रहा. 500 doctors, dental students, some Ayurvedic doctors, physicians, काफी लोग हमारे साथ जुड़े. अभी इस टाइम पे हमारा काम कम हुआ है, नहीं हुआ है. मैं सिर्फ इतना कहना चाहूंगा. काफी लंबी प्रेजेंटेशन चल गई है और आप लोगों ने पेशेंटली सुना. थैंक यू. मैं 2 मिनट लूंगा कि काम खत्म नहीं हुआ है, कम हुआ है. थर्ड वेव के लिए हमें प्रिपेयर करना है. फर्स्ट जून से हम स्टार्ट करेंगे. We'll try to reach to up to 10 lakh kids.
सर आवाज नहीं आ रहा है.
Thank you for the patience. Thank you very much.
We'll end the session.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Ji.
Thank you, everyone.